A city in turmoil for months. We have investigated Riviera Beach city government, from the sudden firing of the city manager
to secret meetings, as well to no confidence votes and lawsuits pitting taxpayers against elected officials. And one of the subjects of our WPTV investigation, Police Chief Clarence Williams. Today I interviewed the chief at an event in Riviera Beach we both attended, and out of a sense of fairness to the chief, we are going to play the interview for you unedited. Did you ever directly or indirectly, in person, by email, by phone call, or through subordinates, push the notion of the idea that Jonathan Evans should go and you should be considered for city manager of Riviera Beach?
Absolutely not. I never pushed that at all. Was supportive of the city manager,
Jonathan Evans.
The former city manager, Jonathan Evans. I was supportive of him throughout the time that he was here. The thought of city manager was not on my radar. When the discussion about city manager arose, I was simply the last man on deck in terms of our city. I mean, I've been there 15 years.
Let me ask you this, Chief. The Hearst Chapel meeting, critics have said that tends to discount what you just said, that in fact, according to what people said about what happened at the Hearst Chapel, you were very much a discussion piece or part of a discussion about Jonathan Evans going and you taking that job.
No, that is not what happened at all at the Hearst Chapel meeting. It was a meeting of citizens who were attempting to move the city forward. My role in that meeting was making certain that the council members were safe, and the persons that were there and in that meeting would tell you that my function in and out of that meeting or around that meeting had to do with that.
And yet our producer says he can find no record that you were there for security. Others have said that the topic about city manager did come up, and with respect to Arwan Moore, at first you said you weren't even at the meeting when in fact you were.
Well, no, what I said, if you listen to me, is that I was in and out of the meeting. The question was about the details of the meeting. I didn't have any details as such of the meeting because I wasn't directly participating in the meeting, and my role was to make certain that folks were safe.
Chief, are you retired for good in early February, done with public service in Riviera Beach after many, many years?
15 years is long enough, and we have completed our tenure.
And you forswear any interest now or in the future in being the city manager of Riviera Beach?
Well, no, I'm not going to eliminate myself from employment opportunities.
Are you interested in being the city manager of Riviera Beach?
As we stand here and as we talk right now, that has not been my interest or my desire.
And you have not expressed directly or indirectly to the three members of the council who got rid of Jonathan Evans, you want to be the next city manager, because one of them in an open meeting said the chief for city manager.
I'm not aware of anyone saying chief for city manager. I'm aware of the interest in me as interim city manager, and that was simply a natural progression in a city where I've been serving for 15 years and last man standing, if you will. So,
Chief, final comment as you head out of your duty as police chief, in part because of all this controversy around the departure of Jonathan Evans and allegations surrounding whether you were or were not part of that push for him to be relieved of duty without explanation, a 67-3 no confidence vote. As you leave office as police chief, your message to the police force, including those, most of whom said, we have no confidence.
Well, what I say is that our record is pretty clear, that we have had successes collectively in this community. I'd like to think that it was a team effort. We've had to make some tough decisions, and we've ruffled some feathers. I don't know that I would do anything different because the results The results speak for themselves. Riviera Beach has experienced the lowest crime that it's ever experienced. Our overall crime rate as it compares to other municipalities is lower. And so I say thank you for the memories to all of those persons whom I served with, regardless of how 67 out of 200 employees felt about the police chief.
After the interview, our producers, who have spent months on this WPTV investigation, began to fact-check what the chief said to me. And you just heard the chief say he was in and out of that meeting at Hearst Chapel. We're going to play for you exactly what the chief told Wanda Moore that night months ago.
I don't know anything about the contents of a meeting. So, and why would you walk up to the police chief and ask him a question that I just arrived? So,
oh, you just arrived? Because we saw you get in earlier, so I was just wondering.
Yeah, I've come and gone, and you couldn't have seen me.
We'll continue to fact-check the interview as we continue our reporting on a city in turmoil. I'd also direct you to WPTV.com. If you click on all sections under the News tab, you'll see a city in turmoil. There we have all our reporting since Riviera Beach fired its city manager, and that includes my unedited interview with Chief Clarence Williams.